Daredevil's the name. Distraction's my game. And if I don't make it, it's been a real slice of heaven, gang. Hang loose, heroes.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books, I love talking about them, I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We are continuing our run of Frank Miller in Daredevil, number 179 from 1981. And we've got this great cover here with Elektra running her sai right through the middle of the Daredevil mask. And here it says, somebody had to win. And, oh my goodness gracious, this era is so good. I'm missing a total of 3 issues of this era of Daredevil. Of course, the first appearance of Elektra, and then so I'm missing 168 or 18, and then 169, and then I'm missing the very first Frank Miller Daredevil. So that's it. So yeah, so I have all of them in the collected editions, but I'm only missing 3 of the short ones. So all right, Stan Lee presents Spiked. Frank Miller, Klaus Janson, Denny O'Neil, Joe Rosen, and Jim Shooter. So Klaus Janson is basically providing the color and the art. Frank Miller is providing the writing and the layouts. So, all right, so this guy's on a payphone here. It's, oh my goodness gracious, Ben Urich. And, you know, I rewatched the Daredevil series, and I am very sad that they killed Ben Urich in the first season and basically replaced him with Karen Page. So, and so Ben says, "I'm sorry, honey. Just put the casserole in the fridge, and we'll have it tomorrow, okay? No, don't wait up. This could take a while." And this guy's knocking. "Anytime this week, mister." And so Ben says, "I know I promised to come home early tonight, but I just got a lead on a really important story. The Cherry thing." Cherry, of course, if you remember, is the guy running for mayor of New York. "Honey, I have to go. Sorry. I love you. Bye." And of course, they keep tapping. And so this guy goes and pays a ticket. He's going to go into the movie theater. And he says no smoking. And he's like, "In this dive?" All right. So, and you can see the color holds that were being done. And so he's going to meet this gentleman here. And he says, "You're late. Missed the best part. Thing just blowed up real good. You brought the money?" And he says, "I brought it. 2 bills. So he says, "But first we talk." Sure. Just hope you appreciate the chance I'm taking. If the fat man knew I was here, I'd be cold meat." And you can see this is going right through here. And says, "The mob's got mucho dinero invested in that Cherry guy. Big bucks, and he says, "Oh." And then all of a sudden you see the sai coming through, and the guy drops down, and Ben watches. And just his eyes open like, what the hell am I into here? Love the reds kind of being applied here. And so Elektra says, "Your friend is dead, Mr. Urich." And she says, "Move or speak and you will join him." I love the screen tones being applied here. So, and so Elektra says, "In several weeks, the people of New York City will have a new mayor. He will be Randolph Winston Cherry, and as mayor, he will serve the interests of my employer. You will do nothing to stop this." And so she pulls aside, and you can see the blood here coming through here. "You will cease your investigation of Cherry and of his commitment to organized crimes." And she cleans it up on Urich's coat here. You will sit now and watch the movie, and you will think about how very vulnerable you are. And so she walks away, and here, and look at him as Elektra watches him, the poor guy. My name is Ben Urich. I'm a reporter. This is my story. So, oh my goodness, this is just beautiful. Look at this. Oh my goodness gracious. You just don't see this kind of art in today's. Everything now is so pretty. Everything now is like clean, and you just don't see this messiness very often, at least not from the big two. I mean, you still see Chris Samney attempting, but um he doesn't get that much work for the big two now. So I really love Ink and Ink Slingers, and Klaus Janson and Frank Miller are Ink Slingers. So all right. The cops ask all their usual questions. I answer them as best as I can, but I'm still shaking 3 hours later, and the shadows no longer seem empty in my office at the New York Daily Bugle. I decide to call Matt Murdock. And if you remember, he knows Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and I have that covered. I have a playlist that I started with the very beginning of Frank Miller's tenure. So Ben says, Ben, I need your help now. And so we continue here. Let me tell you about Matt Murdock. It's one of my better pieces. It starts with a studious young boy who was struck across the eyes by a unique radioactive isotope. He was blinded, but the radiation mutated his nerve centers, amplifying his remaining senses to the superhuman level. Matt went on to become one of the nation's most prominent attorneys, but some inner drive for justice compelled him to fight crime on the street and make this town a bit safer for people like you and me. And so, we continue here. Like I said, one of my better pieces. Great copy, Pulitzer Prize material, but it'll never see print. So if you remember, he destroyed it. He was not going to publish it. He thinks it's more important for Daredevil to be Daredevil. And so maybe I'll put the Matt Murdock story out of my files once in a while and think about the Pulitzer, but I won't blow his cover. It's worth too much to me to know that in this city where crime and corruption are as thick as roaches, in the last week's garbage, there's one man like Daredevil. Real quick, before I, since in the 70s and 80s, New York City was taken over by the mobs. And this is truly a sign of the times and how they were infiltrated and they were everywhere. So, Ben, you've got to stop smoking those cigarettes. They'll kill you, says Daredevil here as he walks in here. And he says, bad choice of words, Matt. I've just been threatened by some killer broad who's working for the Kingpin. And he says, describe her. And he says, I didn't get a good look at her, but a visual description wouldn't do much good, would it? Not much. What about her voice? She had an accent, European, Mediterranean, I think. And she had a big weapon, like a big fork, about this long. Oh, sorry, about 2 feet long. And Daredevil says, Elektra. Elektra. So he's figured out that she is working for the Kingpin. You know her? Asked Ben. And Daredevil says, I knew her years ago. We meant a great deal to each other. And so Ben sips a cup of coffee and says, sure know how to pick 'em, don't you? And Daredevil says, she's not the woman I fell in love with. Not anymore. She's a mercenary, a cold-blooded killer. And if she's operating in my city, he says, it's up to me to stop her. And Ben says, will you be able to? Matt, and of course, gone, his favorite trick. Very Batman-like. And so here, we're at this gym here. 3 cups of coffee. Into the next morning, I get a phone call from the man himself, Randall Winston Cherry, candidate for mayor. I meet him at a Midtown muscle factory. And so Cherry says, an air of national renewal, Mr. Urich, To meet our destiny, we must be fit. We have, we must have healthy minds and healthy bodies. And he says, yeah, well, as these guys are pumping iron, I love this. He's basically in a muscle. That's not how people work out. And you're a mess, Yurik. Just look at you. 10 minutes without a cigarette and you're coughing your lungs out. 20 minutes, you tend to ramble as he's coughing here. How old are you, Yurik? 40? You'll never make 50 if you don't take care of yourself. You'll never make 41 if you don't smarten up. Do you understand what I'm saying, Yurik? And so Ben says, but I never expected you to say it in front of witnesses. You hear that, gentlemen? You hear the councilman threatening me? And this guy says, we heard him give you some good advice, Yurik. And this guy pushes him. You need an intensive program of physical exercise. Let's get started. And pushes him there. And you can see he's on the bench here. But be careful not to start too fast. Try something light, like say 400 pounds. Come on, Yurik, stretch those biceps. He says, please, I can't breathe, as the things on his neck, the bar. And so suddenly Daredevil comes through and lifts it up and hits this guy here. Nice blood. And then hits the other guy here. He's hefting 400 pounds like it was 50. And Cherry says, so stop him, Arnie. He's violating our civil rights. And so he throws the thing at Cherry. And he's like, get the thing off me, Arnie. Sure, anything be better than messing with him, he says as Daredevil escorts Ben out. Thanks, Dee Dee. I really thought it was over back there. And he says, shh. And so he's listening. Beautiful. Cherry's on the phone with the Kingpin, shouting so loudly that I hardly need my super sensitive ears to hear him, he says. He's setting up a meeting tomorrow at a cafe in Little Italy. And Ben taking out a cigarette. I guess you put the scare in him, huh? Matt, this is just what we've been waiting for. All we need is pictures of Cherry and Kingpin. And Daredevil says, right. Then oh no, I'm Matt Murdock. I'm doing court tomorrow. No way I can skip that hearing. And so he takes off. There will be other chances, Ben. Lie low until you hear from me. Don't do anything stupid. But of course, he will. So this is nice here, having him jump on the mailbox here and then into the lamppost. So I really like the magenta being used here. So I'm stupid, so sue me, he says. After 4 hours of sitting and staring at the restaurant, my stomach is growling so loudly it will blow my cover. So he's taking a picture, which is funny because he's not a photographer, but I suppose he's got to keep things. And I love this. Gordon loses. And we've got Commissioner Gordon here in a sketch here. But I suppose, like I said, he's got nobody to turn to, so he's got to do this himself and take the pictures. Then I get lucky. A limo pulls up to the curb, and a man steps in front of it. Not a man, a 7-foot, 500-pound Hulk. He's the Kingpin, 7 feet? It's him, the big man, the lord and master of organized crime from New York to Tampa Bay. And so here he is getting out. He's taking pictures. The Kingpin. Oh, love it. Love the screen tones on the glasses. He continues taking pictures. 20 minutes pass while I think about how a Pulitzer Prize would look on my desk. Try not to think about how I look on the slab. And so then Cherry arrives. In my mind, I'm polishing my Pulitzer. And so I'm ready to leave when I catch a commotion out of the corner of my eye. Somebody's trying to push herself through the window. Just a derelict, a crazy old lady. Or, sorry, bag lady. Or is it? As he looks through. Yurik's first law of journalism. If it's not supposed to be there, it's a lead. And so they push the lady out here. Maybe it'll take you to the story of a lifetime. Or maybe it'll just take you to the subway. So she's crawling through and going through. And you can see Ben is following her. And so He trips and takes another picture. Your second law of journalism: when in doubt, take a picture. So, and here we have Vanessa Fisk, a bag lady, just a lousy, smelly bag lady. I was expecting maybe a royalty. She scrambles away and leaves me sitting in the sewage. Oh well, anything to further the holy cause of the Fourth Estate. So he doesn't realize who she is, but this will be the Kingpin's wife. You remember, she was caught in that explosion and believed it to be dead. And so, all right, great vertical panel. Miller and Todd McFarlane are the best at vertical panels. And so we can't go on like this, Ben. You're killing yourself. And so that would be his wife here. Which he says, too bad my wife doesn't see it that way. And Ben in the shower says, it's not like that, honey. It's just that this story is so important. And his wife says, so was the last one, Ben. And the one before that. I've hardly ever see you anymore. Are you avoiding me? Is that it? And Ben says, avoiding you, honey, don't be silly. I just want to get us out of this roach trap of an apartment. Get us that house in Westchester. And I think his wife's name is Doris. And she says, if you'd just be with me more, that's all I want. And she says, I don't mean to nag, but stop that. I'm serious, as he's tickling her. Staying home tonight? And he says, wild horses couldn't drive me away, or the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And then the phone rings. And of course, yeah, it's me. Where? I'll be there in 20 minutes. And this is the problem. And this is, it isn't just, it's career driven people who all the time put their careers as if that was, this is a great lesson for anyone. It doesn't matter whether you're a reporter, an artist, a CEO, people that are addicted to work and thinking that it completes them. And so he's neglecting his wife so that he can go continue on that story. And this is a great, making her like, oh my God, he doesn't love me. You know, this is a great sequence right here. And so I cab it to Times Square Diner. And so this guy says, still smoking those weeds, huh, Benny boy? Bet your lungs look like something died in them. And he says, don't let it make you bitter. What have you got? And he says, clean lungs, pink as a baby's bottom. Also a tip for you that's worth $3 easy. You see, Cherry's got himself a lady, a secret lady he meets twice a week in that hotel across the way, just to work off tension, you know? And so he continues here. Anyway, he talks to her about his marriage, his job, everything. And she's maybe willing to talk to you. And off panel, maybe. And of course, it's Daredevil. He says, back off, Red, or I'll slice you and dice you. And Daredevil says, suddenly, every small-time operator in town is bursting with news about Cherry's secret lady, says Daredevil. Which means either the Kingpin's been very sloppy, which he isn't, or he wants us to go into that hotel. And so he takes the knife and pushes him, which means it's a trap, probably filled with men and guns as he pushes him out of the way. So, sit tight, Ben. I'll check it out. And he says, sure, I'm no hero. So off he goes. Subtle, he's not, and you see the thack wuck thud. More like one-man SWAT team, and you see the clug, blam, blam, walk. Then abruptly, silence. And love the empty panels here, just kind of guiding, and says, don't do this, Matt. Come to the window. Tell me everything's okay, Matt. And then, this is just beautiful. Well done. Very well done. And suddenly, Daredevil is thrown out. You see the crease here as he's thrown out of the window. And there is Elektra, of course. I don't recognize the lady, but her sticker that I've seen before in the theater. She's the Kingpin's chief assassin, and so you can see Daredevil coming down, and then he These things I don't think are meant to. I don't think they're made out of rubber like this. But he uses it and jumps back up, and he says, "Elektra, lovers turned enemies, battling for the fate of an entire city. Talk about your great copy. 3 flights up, and I'm wheezing, and my chest is a blast furnace. Lousy cigarettes, they'll be the death of me." Famous last words. And so he's coming. He's at the roof, and there's Elektra and Daredevil fighting through. And they continue fighting. You never know what they were to each other unless you saw their faces and glimpsed pain and anger far more personal than it should be. He doesn't want this, I can tell, as Ben continues snapping pictures here. And here you see Elektra running and Daredevil falling. He wants to hold her, to kiss her, to caress her, make every part of her soft and loving. So, great colors. And so Frank Miller is a great, he does very choreographed fight scenes, just absolutely great. And so here, and then she kicks him, then she punches him, and then she punches him again using the handle of the sai. Why doesn't she just stab him? So anyway, continue fighting here, and she misses him, hits the wall and breaks it. Must not be very sturdy because she's not superhuman. Then he kicks her in the back. Elektra, you force me, as he you can see his hand from here to there. Good screen tones being applied here. And says, "No, I have tricked you." She says, "Trapped you." And suddenly his foot is underneath there. As it landed, you see the snap. And it was a bear trap. And he is in pain. And it's very cool. You don't even need to show the screams. Now here you see a little bit. This was supposed to be colored, and you can still see the pencil X that was in there, but he never inked it at all. So it's very funny that as he was coloring it, he didn't even notice that he had left that. You can still see the X that he was supposed to fill that out. And so Elektra says, "Be grateful that they did not set that trap to sever your foot. I would have, but then you would not be so completely immobilized. So utterly helpless," she says, and Daredevil's just in pain but refusing to give her the satisfaction, and she just looks, so that she kicks that thing, the wall there, and he yells, "Elektra!" And the wall falls on him. And so it continues. He falls down, and she watches, and Ben coughs. "Oh, gotta quit smoking." And she sees him. She takes out the sai, and he starts to run. And this is such a great scene here. And she hits him with the sai, "Lousy cigarettes." Next issue, The Damned. Oh my goodness gracious. That was awesome. I'm loving this series so much. As I mentioned, I started in the beginning from Frank Miller's very first issue as a penciler. So I have covered everything so far up to now. So Daredevil 179 by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson. Hope you're liking it. I really am enjoying rereading these with you guys. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.